Hey guys, you're watching Daniel and Gian talk, and today we will be doing a full review of the feature film Taare Zameen starring Aamir Khan and some goofy kid we've never seen before.
Darshil Safari.
Darshil Safari. Haven't seen him in anything else since this. This came out 11 years ago.
I'm just
about to be 12 years ago.
Yeah, about to be 12 years. He's been in 3 movies since then. Bum Bum Bole, Sokoman, and Midnight's Children. Those are the only movies he's been in since then. 2010, 2011, 2012.
So he might
be
be
inactive since 2012.
He's back in school and decided he doesn't want to do the acting thing anymore.
I don't know, but he was in TV in 2015, 2016, so maybe he just decided to go that route. I don't know, but
who knows?
Let's get into it. What did you think?
Right off the bat, I fucking love this movie. It was great.
It was great.
It was a really good movie. Really played with the emotions. Really, a lot of social commentary in there. Very over the head too. You know, like.
But I think it fits.
It wasn't in a bad way. It was definitely making you think about.
It's a universal story, but also definitely for the Indian market.
Universal and regional for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely cultural things. I just. People push their kids here, but they don't push them in the same way, I guess. You know, there's definitely, you see it in sports here more than anything, I think.
Well, this kid would have been drugged in America.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
He would have had ADHD medication.
Yeah.
He would have, they would have already given him like 50. Because I was like, okay, what's wrong with this kid?
Right.
Like at the very beginning, they set up the dyslexia thing with all the letters being thrown all over. I'm like, okay. But it's weird. Maybe it's just the way we are trained to look at kids. If I saw that kid had dyslexia, that wouldn't have made me think. Like, if I was viewing this kid, I wouldn't have been like, oh, he's dyslexic. I would have thought autistic.
Right.
Like, literally somewhere on the spectrum of anything else, because he just didn't show any desire to do anything.
Yeah.
Now, we kind of understand, we kind of get to figure out
It definitely
why.
seemed like he had ADHD, too. Like, he got distracted and he would...
By everything.
And he'd get stuck. Like, everything except for...
But, I mean, just the little things of, like, him looking in the fish. Like, that would not be a normal kid.
No, definitely not.
And in my experience, people with dyslexia don't act like that.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that it's inaccurate, so don't say that.
That's not the commentary at hand, but it was not what
like, he had other issues in my American mind, you know,
Yeah.
that were... But, you know, that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is teaching, I feel like, teaching methods, and then just giving kids the opportunity to be a child and, like, find out what they want to do. You don't have to be an engineer. You don't have to be like an A+ student or like high marks, whatever it is in India.
I mean, you can still be extremely intelligent and a genius without having to be a mathematician or.
And Aamir Khan talks about that.
He absolutely
when he talks about Galileo and all the other famous scientists, Leonardo da Vinci, who wrote backwards, and himself. Like, I didn't look into... I wanted to read if, like, maybe Aamir Khan also suffered from dyslexia, and that's kind of... But on a side note, and this is probably there's only 2 negative things, so I just want to get him out of the bat right away, so we don't have to worry about that. Aamir Khan, the dance, when he, like, the one song completely fucking ruined the flow of the movie. I get why it was there, but he almost sabotaged his own film by being in it. Because he was not in it for the first 90 minutes.
No, I was like waiting too. Like, when's this guy going to show up?
I'm glad that he wasn't there.
It was an interesting choice to like wait so long to introduce his character.
And then it's introduced right after the kid basically wants to kill himself.
Yeah.
Which is fucking dark. So like, I get the purpose of the song. It brings you up. But the song kind of killed all of the... It didn't kill it. That's not the right word. It put the brakes on the narrative of like this being super serious and grounded because... the song was real, right?
And it was a goofy song.
And then, but they didn't bring it back up. It didn't like start. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, Aamir Khan was actually a distraction in the movie.
Right.
After that point.
No, I could see that because of all the songs in the films, this one didn't fit at all. You know, this is one where it went into a fantastical element that did not exist up until then, other than the kid's imagination.
The idea was important, though, to add levity to that moment. But you could have done that by him introducing himself, him playing jokes, him doing this. I feel like the song is the easy way to do that.
Right.
So it's not like it didn't ruin the movie. But
the song was expected, I think.
Yeah.
That's
got to have one, and that was the one. And, you know, so... And then the other negative, and like I said, just to get it right out of the way, You kind of forget about the kid at the end. Like towards the end of the movie, it was all, but it became almost like Amir Khan's story of how am I gonna fix this kid, as opposed to like.
There was definitely a large chunk of that. Yeah, I agree. But that didn't really bother me that much.
That's what I'm saying. I want to get them out of the way because
Yeah.
they didn't really ruin my experience. But I'm just saying
It was
like,
definitely a different narrative once you hit the halfway point. Like it changed, but it was still pretty consistent for the
absolutely.
most part. Yeah.
Those are the only two negatives though. Other than that, I thought it was great. I thought Amir Khan's direction was good. What do you think of the kid?
I think it was pretty good casting.
His teeth were great.
Yeah, his teeth were great. He just seemed like a goofy, awkward kid the whole time.
The whole time.
He was really emotive as well.
He was a good actor.
Yeah.
He played the fart well, and when he was getting beat up or he was getting scolded,
He was angry when he was sad.
You knew exactly
yeah,
where
you know
his
exactly what he
emotional-
was doing.
But I also like the little moments too, where like he's in the shower and he's like fighting with the water.
Yeah.
Like shit that I remember doing.
Yeah, he was being a little kid. He was being a little
Burping.
boy, being a normal little boy, And those were the times where you see him being awkward all the time. But then this is like, wait a second, this is a normal kid. He just has some sort of disability, and that's
Something.
something's wrong with him. But he's definitely a normal kid. He has his moments where he's doing stuff. Even like, when they find the forged letter. He's sitting there like, Dad, can we go to the aquarium? Dad, can we go to the aquarium? Dad, let's go to the aquarium today. Dad, can we just being the annoying little kid? Like, are we gonna go to the aquarium today? The little moments of him being.
I actually liked the forged letters scene too. He didn't snitch on his brother.
No, he ain't no snitch.
He ain't no snitch.
Ain't no punk.
That means
bitch.
he ain't that dumb.
No, absolutely not. I mean,
And
it was
I know
his
that's the
idea
whole
to do
point.
it was his idea to forge
ditch.
the letter in the first place.
Did you ever ditch at 9 years old?
No.
When did you start ditching?
No.
Or did you ever?
I didn't ditch till high school.
I only ditched once in high school.
Get caught?
No. Well, it was like illegal ditching.
Oh, like senior.
No. So what happened was, real short story. I was supposed to go on not a vacation. What do they call it? When you go to like a field trip? A field trip, duh. I went on a field trip. Supposed to go on a field trip. And I was on the list to go, and at the very last minute, the teacher said that I can't go because the bus was full. It was me and like 3 or 4 other people.
What?
Literally, it was fucked up. No,
What kind of ghetto?
it was fucked up, and like it turned into a big thing because like we were already outside of the school gates, and they're
Yeah.
like, well, you're gonna have to go back to class now. And yeah, me and like we just said fuck that. We just left, and I remember calling my dad saying like, well, we're not going to school today. This and that. You could pick me up. We're gonna go hang out.
Right.
And he's like, okay, that's fine. And then he picked me up later. But the school, my dad was pissed. Called the school, wrote a fucking letter, and that we all like wrote a letter together.
Yeah.
And then we got a day off because of it. Not that day, but an additional day.
They're
As,
like,
like, an
oh,
apology.
here, don't come to school again.
Yeah. Because they were supposed to go to the Holocaust Museum, and then we didn't.
Right.
So like it was all fucked up. But anyway, yeah.
Oh, the Holocaust Museum. So I have a story about that for another day. But,
So that was the only time I ditched. College, that's another story.
Yeah.
College, it's not ditching anymore. It's you decide, well, I'm paying for this, and
right.
I don't want to go today.
I'm an adult, so I can not show up if I don't want to.
But yeah, when he ditched and he was walking the streets of India, I was
was
like,
crazy.
This kid's
Yeah,
fucking just
this
walking
kid's
in the
bold.
middle of the street, just not giving a fuck, just gets run over. Who cares? Whatever, man. But I like that. But I like the kid aspects too of like when he's doing the math and it was like 3 times 3.
And then he goes into outer space.
He's just totally wandering. 3 into 3, it's 3, and like
he
that's
was
the
so
only.
proud of himself that he answered one question incorrectly too.
Which is, it works as a funny moment.
Yeah.
But it also works on another level because you feel bad for him.
Right.
Because clearly this kid doesn't get it, and then when the parents like it's this movie's so layered, and I just.
And speaking of the parents, like the whole dynamic that he had at home with his dad, like just his mom was they're both so frustrated because they don't know what's wrong with him, and they have.
And the reality is, if they would have been better parents. Maybe
Well,
more
but at the same time, and I know Amir Khan kind of shits on Pops for being that, but it's like it's also societal pressure
Absolutely.
on both of them, and not to mention, I think this is the major like the moral of the story more than anything is talking about how in India they're not advanced enough in that sort of thing to pick up like, hey, this kid's got a learning disability, but he's not mentally retarded because that's what it was leading to.
I mean, they were literally saying,
yeah,
straight
this
up.
guy's just retarded. He's an idiot. Let's send him to the special needs school, whatever school that is.
But do you consider that to be advanced enough? Because like I said at the beginning, America would just pill the kid up. And I don't know what's worse.
They would pill him up, but they would also immediately like.
But the pilled up kids become school shooters.
Well, I mean they're all. No, I'm gonna disagree with that because all the school shooters are white, and not just white kids are pilled up. But that's another day. But you take all these tests when you enter school. Like here in the States, they're immediately looking for stuff like that. Now, yeah, they're gonna throw some pills at you, whatever, as well. But they're always looking for stuff where it gets picked up fairly soon.
Yeah.
You know,
and
they misdiagnose. The problem here is they misdiagnose everything. Everyone's got ADHD. Everyone's got ADD, and then we need to throw like Ritalin at you.
But even then, though, I feel like it's the way they. Okay, he has dyslexia, or even if, let's say he did have a mental disability. They're just so dismissive of like, fuck, I should have aborted this child. They don't say that. They don't allude to that. But the way they treat him, like, look at my other boy. He's a tennis player. He's a this. What am I going to do with this other kid? Where it's like, if it's not perfection, you might as well just fucking like leave him on the road like a dog.
There's no room for ordinariness.
Which is fucked up. But that also leads to I feel like the commentary on the parents, which is why I said they needed better parenting, is once they leave school, it's not like all of a sudden, okay, I was successful in school. I got high marks. I got to the right college. I graduated. I have a job now. That perfection just stops. Now, it's not like all of a sudden, I have my job, I can relax. It's like, no, I got to go out and fucking travel to this place to do this, not be home because I need to be successful. I need to bring money home. Like, that drive never stops. So there's never like the moment to go to the aquarium or whatever, which might be beneficial because then you might be able to relate to your child more and be like, oh, I mean, I'm not a parent, so I don't fucking know. So,
well, there's the key line as well where the dad comes to visit and says, hey, my wife's been reading up on dyslexia. Like, they had no idea.
I don't want you to know I'm a bad parent.
Yeah, like to say, hey, we're not as bad as you think we are. And then
he doesn't go see his son.
And then Aamir shits on him by telling him, you know, there's this tribe
that shit on trees and the tree dies.
They just insult the tree till the tree dies. They don't put their hands on it.
But that scene was tough too. Not that one, but the one right after, because he sees his son like struggling to read the art competition thing, and the dad knows like my son's a fucking idiot. That's what I thought. Like when he was looking, I was like, my son's a fucking idiot, and it's sad, and I don't want to see.
I didn't interpret that scene that way. I took it more as like he felt he was a failure as a father.
Yeah, same shit.
But by not realizing that his son isn't just a bad kid. Like that's like this whole time he thought his son was just a bad kid causing trouble, and that's why he wasn't learning because he didn't want to learn because he was just a badass. And then that's like he's realizing, oh my God, this whole time my son.
But I feel like that's tough too, to really know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if that kid acts like that,
well, but that's like,
and then he's getting blamed for shit.
I feel like that's parenting 101 though. Like if your kid is lashing out, it's because there's something wrong. Kids, no one is naturally evil, except for Dodger fans.
That reference went over. Everyone said, I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Or people that put ranch on pizza. So that's like 70% of the United States.
That's disgusting.
But
that explains the school shootings.
Yes, ranch and pizza don't go together. Ranch dressing in general is nasty, but
goes good with wings.
Gotta go blue cheese, man. Gotta go blue cheese. There's a lot of realizations happening in this film, which I thought were really good. Like the interaction between the principal and Aamir Khan at towards the end of the film, where he's like, "Hey, man, you gotta give me an opportunity to help this kid out because he's too bright to get sent to the dum-dum school to go on the short bus."
And that was also sad too because he's a teacher there, so he kind of knows. And then I don't know when I see people with physical disabilities or mental disabilities, more so mental, that shit makes me sad.
No,
it
absolutely.
Fucking makes me sad.
Yeah.
Because the reality is, 5,000 years ago, unless that kid was of royalty,
he'd be
gone. Dead.
Yeah.
They would have killed that kid immediately. Like the fact that they're able to survive as long as they are and live the lives that they're even able to live now kind of is a testament to like how far we've come, in my opinion. But it's still rough.
Yeah.
It's still tough. I don't know. And then, because it's just a different society. But I liked that it was a kids movie. I liked that it was that it was well rounded. I liked there was the moment that I wrote down here, like even the things that were a little bit over the top ended up grounding themselves. Like there's the nightmare where he has a train, like he thinks he's getting
Yeah, he's
separated
not
with
getting
his
on the
mom.
train. Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, don't tell me this is gonna go like straight up Bajrangi Bhaijaan on the fucking movie, you know, because that's what
Right.
happens. And then he wakes up and really it's just his anxiety playing tricks. So I'm like, okay, you know, and then so these little moments end up adding up to
No,
a great movie.
absolutely.
I feel like
Yeah.
the art competition at the end, him winning wasn't like I wasn't like, oh okay, he's gonna win. Like,
Right.
he should win. Fuck it, why not?
Absolutely.
Because it's his story and it's a positive message through and through. But
It was consistent tonally. That's why it works.
nothing ever felt like it was just hammering you over the head. Like message. It was just
Another one part in the movie that did kind of ruin it for me was at the very end when they recreated the end of Bajrangi Bhaijaan. Or maybe Bajrangi Bhaijaan recreated that part.
I don't know what came out first.
This one did. So
Bajrangi Bhaijaan
ripped stole
the
Taare
ending.
Zameen Par, the running back to him and catapulting him like they're gymnasts.
What do you think about Aamir Khan's jeans?
I didn't even pay attention to those.
Every time he wears like the same skinny but like those bell-bottom jeans.
They kind of flared at the bottom.
Yeah.
You know?
That's his style.
Maybe he has big calves, you know.
Maybe.
And he
Or
needs
maybe he's
a
hiding his
flare.
risers or whatever they're
Oh,
called.
it could be too. Yeah, he might be wearing the Stallone shoes.
But that's okay. No, Amir Khan, and for all the shit that I feel like Amir Khan gets from some of our subscribers and then our non-subscribers and SR, I feel like Amir Khan takes the cake on being the most artistic.
Yeah, definitely.
Just the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah,
he directed this
when
movie.
he's in charge of the whole production,
And it's an Amir Khan production.
yeah, it's a different.
Which Thugs of Hindustan was not.
It's a different kind of film for sure.
It's just I don't know. I liked it.
And
I would
it
own
takes
this
its
movie.
time. It takes its time.
It develops the characters
Exactly.
in a meaningful way, which is a big deal.
Well, why don't we do the Cutaway real quick? So
Yeah.
this week we're the return of the Cutaway. Daniel's going to talk about the use of close-ups.
And the lack of cutting.
Hey guys, and welcome back to The Cutaway. It has been a long time. I've missed everybody, but I'm glad to be back. But let's get right into this one. Today I'm going to be talking about how Aamir Khan decided not to cut in certain key moments and instead decided to focus on raw performance, and as a result, his scenes greatly benefited. The first scene deals with Ishan after he's been essentially blamed for something he did not do at the very beginning of the film. Clearly, the way he reacts, we can gather that this is something that happens on a regular basis, and he's had enough on this particular day. He goes as far as to kick over the neighbor's plants in frustration, and we finally come to this beautiful, beautiful shot in which he busts out of the door, and the camera starts to dolly in on him. And as it dollies in on him, we see that Ishan cycles through a multitude of different emotions. He's angry, but then he starts to cry, so he's vulnerable. This actually bothers him. He's not just mad that he's being blamed for things. It actually affects him. But then he gets angry again and sad, and we see this wide range of emotions, and not once does he utter a word of dialogue. Not once does he say, "I'm sad, I can't take this, I'm angry, da 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 da." It's purely him reacting. And this becomes more prominent by the lack of cutting. Because when you cut, you allow your mind to reset momentarily to interpret all of the new data that's being planted in. The more that you hold on a shot, the more information and data you continue to extract from the one scene. And since you're not really gaining any new information through dialogue or anything like that, it allows you as the viewer to start to put yourself in their shoes. You start to think about what they are going through. And as a result, it makes everything more impactful. For example, in the 2011 film Drive, directed by Nicholas Winding Refn, we see Ryan Gosling as he sits in a diner. And an individual comes up to him and he engages in a conversation. And we watch Ryan Gosling's back. We never see his face. We just see the other guy talking to him. We don't hear any sort of exchange between them until we finally make one cut. And the cut is a close-up of Ryan Gosling. And he has some dialogue at the beginning. He tells him to shut up, as we're going to watch here in a second. But then he doesn't do anything else.
I got this sweet job coming up.
How about this? Shut your mouth, or I'll kick your teeth down your throat and I'll shut it for you.
Nice seeing you again.
The director chooses to stay on Ryan Gosling's face. Even though the other character continues to talk to him, we still stay on Ryan Gosling's face. And the power of this choice illustrates Ryan Gosling's character. It illustrates that he's not someone to fuck with. And you can read it on his face. You can see the anger in his eyes. And of course, you could have shot it traditionally where you have Ryan Gosling looking at the guy and then you cut to the other shot, a single of the other individual talking to Ryan Gosling, and you could cut back and forth and build drama there. But this is an artistic choice to not cut anywhere else. Going back to Taare Zameen Par, the second scene I want to talk about deals with the home videos that Ishan's mother watches by herself. Now, initially, we don't know that she's watching the tapes. All we know is that the tapes are going on. Until the tape turns off, we see the snow fuzz, and then the camera starts to pull back, and we see, oh, it's a television, which lets the audience know that someone is watching this. We reverse cut, and we show the mom, and she begins to cry. Now, another way we could have shot this scene is you show the TV, then you show the mom reacting to the TV, and back and forth, back and forth. And it could have been impactful. It could have been sad and everything like that. But the fact that we watched the video as the mother, and then we cut to the mom, and then we see her react in this long take of her crying and going through her emotions, we have the context for why she's feeling the way she does. Just like earlier when Ishan reacts the way he does based on the context of what came before. So sometimes holding on your characters may feel weird or disjointed, but in fact, it is a strong creative choice that, if used properly, can elevate your scene to an entirely different level without being overly complex. Because sometimes not cutting is in fact cutting. Because at the end of the day, it's a choice. It's a creative choice. And with that, guys, let's get back to this one.
What would you rate this film?
It's like a 9.5 out of 10. I mean, honestly, if the song was changed and developed into a scene to fit like the realism of the rest of the movie,
Yeah.
I would have been like a perfect movie. Because I want to own this movie. I definitely do think that the idea of spreading that this is how dyslexic people are is a little bit off-putting, because that's not entirely true,
Right.
in my opinion. I'm not saying that dyslexic people aren't discouraged to learn, which is what clearly that was
Right.
what was happening here.
But you are saying that they should all die.
No, I dated a dyslexic girl, and she didn't act like that.
I mean, it's not like you can just look at someone and say, hey, you're dyslexic.
But you can look at this kid, though, and see that something's wrong with
Right,
him.
right.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, there's an interpretation, and we said at the beginning, like, you could definitely make the argument that the way they portrayed him was more like a kid that was on the spectrum rather than
because
a dyslexic kid. 'Cause I know a lot of dyslexic people, and they're just not very smart. That's really like all the dyslexic people I know. They're like, they weren't good at school, and we know now we know why. But they didn't show.
But they
the
weren't-
ones that I know, and this is all anecdotal. The ones I know never showed some sort of thing that they were like super talented at.
Yes, which is what autistic kids.
Yes,
definitely-
exactly.
That's why I said, and the only reason why I bring this up again, I think this is the third time I brought this up in the review, is I've noticed in Indian films when they want to concentrate on some sort of disability to enlighten the audience, they kind of ham it up a little bit.
Yeah.
They kind of make it more. They give you like the most extreme version. Boggy 2. Like the whole movie was about PTSD, and the way they framed PTSD was being forgetful. And like you don't remember doing, which is not what PTSD is.
Right.
That is an aspect, but it's not what PTSD is. So like, and I said that in my review. Like I feel like that they were trying to make that message for people who've never heard of PTSD.
Yeah.
Because they kept like Hitchcock with Tourette syndrome. Like that one was fairly accurate, but at the same time, it wasn't it's not always like that specifically, you know.
If you guys want to see an accurate depiction of Tourette syndrome, you guys got to look up that one old white guy with the neck thing.
Oh, Tourette's guy?
Yeah, you should put a clip of it right
Well,
there.
they can watch our
Yeah.
Hitchkey reaction where we actually went in for like 25 minutes about the whole thing. We reacted all about Tourette's. But I like the animation. I like that stuff. The cinematography.
No, the animation was really good. Like really, really good. I hate to say shocked, but you know, especially because it
I
came
didn't
out in
expect
2007. It was real smooth, flowed perfectly with the rest of everything. It was very high quality. And it fit perfectly with the kids'
tone,
character.
It's not
yeah.
dated. It
No.
won't get dated. They didn't use CGI. They used 2D.
Yeah.
And it was like of his drawing. Like so, it fit very well. But what did you think overall? Let's go to the final thoughts. Let's bring this home. What did you?
I give it a 9 out of 10. By the way.
That's
Overall, I really love this movie. I'm really glad that I watched it. You know, as a parent, I really, you know, it kind of. I related to it differently because I'm having some experiences now of like just seeing, you know, the things your child does, and I'm not saying anything's wrong with Baby G, like he's fine, but you know,
But you just noticed
yeah,
things.
there's details that you may not have noticed with other kids before, you know, that before me having one, you know, I
and
didn't pick up on it.
you might see a kid like this, and if they're getting mistreated, you might say something.
Exactly.
Or maybe not, because I don't know how you feel about parents minding their own business.
You know, that I think if you know there's like legitimate abuse happening, it is your responsibility as a
Another
human
parent.
being, and as someone in a, you know, society, in a civilized
Sometimes
space.
you kind of mind your own business.
You try to sometimes, you know, like I'm not gonna tell someone not to feed their kid, you know,
Oreos
or like if they give them a can of
And
Chef
Kool-Aid.
Boyardee, I'm not gonna be like, you know, the cans of Chef Boyardee are like lined with BPA's, right? Like I'm not gonna go out of my way, like.
Is that what makes it taste so good?
But it probably has nothing to do with the taste. It's just,
I'm just-
you know. But stuff like you're not feeding your kid organic stuff. Your kid's drinking soda. Like I'm not gonna go out of my way to say, hey.
But if a parent slaps the child,
Exactly. Like if I see you like physically abuse, like there's some stuff like that. Like if you're gonna discipline your child, do it behind closed doors.
so no one can see it.
Yeah, exactly. Not, you know, because you know.
Use a
It's like this. Everybody's
bar soap
different.
with a pillowcase.
People are differently.
So no bruising.
Yeah, I like a pillowcase full of doorknobs myself, but you know, it's just like there's cultural stuff when it comes to disciplining your children. And I feel like whatever you do, you shouldn't do it out in public. You know, and out of respect to your kid too. Like, why would you embarrass your kid in front of people? Like that's gonna help him in the future. You know, just make him look like a punk in front of all of his friends. He's not gonna come back and shoot you in the face one day. Who knows?
True. Overall, great movie. I'm glad that this is the last movie of the review. Expect bigger and better things next year in terms of reviews. A lot more of the critically acclaimed films that we've been missing, because I feel like this year has been mostly just you know, mainstream big hits, and I feel like we need to go back to really just watching movies that we're
Right.
actually gonna fucking like this one, as opposed
Absolutely.
to just like, oh, here's Salman Khan and blah 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 bullshit.
How
you know?
dare you? All right.
I'm just saying.
Salman by for
I mean,
life.
you even said that Bajrangi Bhaijaan copied the ending to this film.
Yes, it did. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for us. Thanks for watching. You know the drill. Smash that like button. Leave comments. Let us know what you think. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Ring the bell if you are. And we will see you next time. Check out Reaction Hour tomorrow.